Knuckles Chaotix is finally coming to theaters in 2025, starring Julian Daniel, that's me, as Knuckles, and Cindy Robinson as Kiwi. This movie will be rated PG-13 long before the time it has been announced, with some material that may be inappropriate for children under 13. Parents strongly cautioned by comedy. In this video, we'll be breaking down hundreds of tidbits that I can spot throughout the movie. If there's anything I missed, please let me know in the comments below if you picked up anything that I didn't throughout the movie. Obviously, this video contains hundreds of spoilers, so watch your own peril. But with that said, without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's look at every single reference to the classic Knuckles Chaotix series, starting with the 30th anniversary edition and the movie itself. We get an appearance of the opening title in the movie, even with the skybox featuring obscure clouds that go unused in the final game. We get an appearance of the opening title with Knuckles and Kiwi seem to be friends together. Knuckles seemed to be having the first girlfriend in the movie. Not really obscure about this one. We get an appearance of the Chaotix featuring Mighty the Armadillo, Vector the Crocodile, and Charmy Bee. While Mighty and Espio the Chameleon aren't seen very much in this movie, Espio makes a brief appearance in Flyers in Knuckles' hallway. I consider Espio not being in this movie much more. So we get an appearance of Alec Baldwin playing Espio the Chameleon for Smash Brothers. Let's go over some attractions in the movie. There will be some badness later on. We get an appearance of Botanic Base featuring the little garden texture and the mountains that still similar to the Wacky Workbench background in Sonic CD in the past. Marina Madness also makes an appearance where Knuckles gets to meet his queen underwater. The bubbles and splash animations go unused in the game will reappear in the movie too. Amazing Arena makes an appearance where in the dark version of this little building, the attractions seem to be a little bit spooky in my opinion. Techno Tower makes an appearance where Inferior Fox's facility is located with the cutscene seem to know that the camera is still bent forward and the cutscene boss. Eventually, this smart little ankle, Renfield the Rodent, makes an appearance in Knuckles Chaotix comic series, featuring Campender's developer for the program for Knuckles Chaotix. In addition to the comic series, we also get an appearance of unused sprites featuring Knuckles' gliding animation to go with air style. Bomb makes an appearance in the Fury Fox final fight. Heavy will be appearing soon enough in the near future. He gets to throw it in the air, and now we get to see some interesting cutscenes at the end as well. Knuckles and his wife Kiwi are walking to the moon with Mighty, Vector, and Charmy Bee. The credits theme also plays, even the Just Another Day soundtrack playing in the sound test. Fury Fox is still present in the American version, but in the Japanese version, he eventually has an obscure name called Wechnia. Given the name by the fans throughout the movie, I essentially think that may be a real reference. SEGA Enterprises Ltd. makes an appearance at the ending credits as well. Not too sure about this, but eventually that will be okay for me. Now let's take a look at some traditional SEGA characters that cameo in the movie. Some characters are developed by SEGA, and some characters are inspired by SEGA. We get an appearance of Drago Centaurus, played by Selena Gomez. I assume that's Mavis from Hotel Transylvania in Puyo Puyo's Son. The reboot for Fury Fox's ending fight also appears, where Knuckles gets to defeat Fury Foxes by throwing a bomb at his mouth, or eventually he must have died. Frankly enough, Selena Gomez also makes an appearance, and more importantly, as that Drago makes his Sunpost style as well. Pretty opening as well. Kikimora makes an appearance in Autumn Ocean, where Knuckles gives her a wedgie, considering she might not doing the job as well, because Knuckles is in charge of the isolated island. Well, not only that, Harpy makes an appearance from the Puyo Puyo series. I assume Knuckles has an anger management to fill out his therapy. He's a little bit frustrated. While we don't see him, Tempo makes an appearance on the better at the gymnastic office. I'm pretty sure because Knuckles is trying to sneak up on our way. Earthworm Jim makes an appearance at the strip club where Drago Centaurus is dancing for a reboot Puyo Puyo. I like Earthworm Jim. Fiona Fox makes an appearance in the Sonic the Hedgehog comic series developed by Ken Penders, reunited with Fury Fox after all these years. Not really her, but I think that she's a fox. Considering Fury Fox is a villain in the movie, he will be played by McDonald. He was the voice of Jimmy the Polar Bear from Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. They're designed to look like Tails, but eventually... Not only that, there's a whole bunch of lists of cameos and appearances in the movie. Not only that, sure. So let's get onto it. We get an appearance of the anime characters featuring some little bit obscure traditional anime characters from Kaijo like Nozomi and Oba. We get an appearance of Aika, the Squid Girl, who eventually where Knuckles seems to accidentally stomped on her while she was in his way. I meant this. So Knuckles is a little bit frustrated. Elma the Narwhal also appears in tickle tortures at Fury Fox's facility, and Toro the Dragon, a picture inspired by Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Even though this movie is about SEGA, there are not only a bunch of SEGA characters in this movie, but also traditional SEGA-inspired cameos, such as Knuckles' catchphrase where he gets to eat a Knuckles sandwich for dinner. Even at the strip club, he eventually enjoys it. In addition to that, there's also a perfect sample for Knuckles, where he gets to train Kiwi, a reference to the Sonic and Mario Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. We get the appearance of Aronaja and Kirby featuring a bunch of Puyo Puyo fruit snacks in the box, and the Puyo Puyo gummy ship. We get an appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1's Treasure Tracker with the minecarts and the Labyrinth Zone as well. This is certainly reminiscent of the special stages from Sonic 2, I believe. I assume that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 was developed by Dimps, not SEGA. I think SEGA's not that bad. What's about Sonic 4 is that SEGA also appears as a logo. Mostly resemble the fireworks and banner textures. There's a whole bunch of list of animation references that I can spot throughout the movie. Be sure to let me know if you picked up anything that I haven't. We get an appearance of Sidestep Sandcastle, kind of reminiscent of Maggie and the Ferocious Beast Sandcastle, Walk the Walk. I think I like this one better. Ren and Stimpy also makes an appearances where Knuckles had a weird nightmare. Eventually Kiwi gets to wake up where her water broke. Not only that, an anime obscure character makes an appearances getting tickled, of course, once again the Fury Fox. And the special Japanese texture is hard to read on the very root. Who knows what it's keeping track of. The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 makes an appearances where Knuckles eventually gets to a maze of pipes, similar reminiscent of 7 Koopas and continents. And the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate cutscenes. We got Knuckles, Kiwi, Mighty, Charmy, Vector, and Espio at the Deems of Light. What's so weird about the trailer of Knuckles Chaotix that they actually have some multiple different errors. Traditionally, the animated trailer is inspired by some similar differences. In the final version, Drago seems to be a little bit different. Knuckles has an expression, but in the skybox is a little bit different to see. It was a little bit darker than day. The Amazing Arena era seems to have a little bit mistakes in the movie. Knuckles doesn't have a ring on his hand, and the rings is not attached to the other ring. Thankfully, we got to fix this little obscure bug soon enough as we got the rings, I got the stars, we got her quill on Kiwi too. Also, traditionally, my most Easter egg of all is Dr. Seuss's green eggs and ham also makes an appearance at the end for the King of the Angel Island. Possibly Isolated Island for short. Pop culture references is generally the thing I assume that might be assumed for decades and most popular videos of all time. We get appearances of Caraba's Italian Grill. It's a real product for anywhere else but Italian. Mamma mia, it's Italian! From Isolated Island. And Fury Fox gets to take a shower with his Old Spice Swagger body wash, which is an actual product, which I have now. It's originally supposed to be a shampoo. Also, at the Autumn Ocean, we get the appearances of car tire, we got an apple, we got a sock, we got a Durago battery there, chopsticks, Pepsi, and a Dr. Seuss book. It's supposed to be 10 apples up on top, but presumably with no pages and no words on the pages. Also of that, we go to see Doritos and Hollywood dates. Hollywood is reminiscent of California, for dates who grow those gardens from back there. We now get to see Fury Fox's facility, designed after the creepypasta of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog series. The Back to the Future text calls the DeLorean makes an appearance and the Cybershell right there. Microsoft buttons on the top left. We eventually entered Fury Fox's facility, where Knuckles gets to scare Fiona Fox, and he busts through a door, calling, "Here's Knuckles!" from The Shining. We get an appearances of Charmy Bee's Cheerio wand. This is a reference to the Cheerios commercial, inspired by Cheerios. Also, I assume that in the credits theme, we get to see Knuckles pose featuring the Turo dragon from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid that inspired it all. So we eventually entered the final cut of Knuckles Chaotix with the wedding cutscene. I assume there might be a reference to other decades. Oh wait, that's all I have for you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you picked up anything that I haven't throughout the movie. If you want to see some more traditional animation cameos, Easter eggs, and references in Knuckles Chaotix, be sure to subscribe below. Also, if you did enjoy it, please be sure to like and comment on your reaction. If there's anything I missed, please let me know in the comments below if you did. So, don't forget to like and share if you haven't, and follow me on pictures if you have any questions at all. Until next time.